Music of the Spheres World Tour has been watched by millions of fans around the globe. But have you ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes? Coldplay Extra was allowed a sneak peek behind the curtains, and in this documentary, we will show you some of the people behind the magic of Coldplay. So join us as we go backstage with the roadies of the Spheres.
So they call us humankind.
It's early in the morning as we enter the Etihad Stadium in Manchester. Coldplay's crew are already very busy inside the stadium setting up tonight's show. One of the leading figures in this operation is production manager Chris Kanzi. Chris, what does your day-to-day job look like?
What I do as Coldplay's production manager is, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of administrative work, there's a lot of coordination, logistics, but it's basically everything it takes to put the show on the road, from, crew, trucking, transport, freight, working with the local vendors, and, just producing a show in concert with, the team.
So let's meet the roadies of the Spheres.
My name is Ant. I am the camera director for the Music of the Spheres World Tour.
Hi, I'm Anna Lee, and I'm the tour photographer for Coldplay. My name's Ariel Bojan. I'm the Green Nation rep. Hi, I'm Becca. I am the activations and volunteer manager for Global Citizen.
Hi, I'm Samara. I am the back of house apprentice.
I am Shaheen Litchmore. I am the tour lighting director.
And we have so many more roadies to meet today, but I wanted to ask Chris, almost 100 shows in, is this tour a smooth operation?
Well, it is. I mean, the show only builds one way, but we have to work around the environment. Sometimes the venue is a little bit more challenging. Sometimes we've got weather. Whether it be hot, cold, rainy, windy, all those factors are involved in how quickly and how easily the show builds. Some venues are easy to access. Some are quite difficult. But, the show builds the same, but we just basically have to, deal with the local environment.
Is there any that's been more challenging than others?
Well, some of them can be quite difficult. Some of the older stadiums where, we have to unload the trucks outside and then bring it all inside. Here in Manchester, we're able to drive all the trucks right in onto the pitch, and we unload them and it's right there. So in that respect, it's easy. The weather here is great. It's not rainy. It's not super hot. The trucks come inside. So we're having a really nice time here in Manchester. Some of the older venues that we could play in where the access is really difficult, and cases have to go a long way, and forklifts have to pick up things and carry them a long way. And the venues are smaller, or there's not as much storage, etc. Those can make things more challenging.
What's typically the workaround when things do get tough, or there is a problem on the day?
I've an old saying that you're only as good as you are on your hardest day. So we have to, suck it up and take the challenge, and we just have to make it work. Our goal is for the band to walk off stage and give us the thumbs up. Some days that's easy, some days that's really hard, but as long as we can get that thumbs up, we don't care how hard we have to work. We just, just need to make sure the show can be as good as it can be.
One of Coldplay's longest serving roadies of all time is Matt McGinn. He's worked with the band for over 20 years as Johnny Buckland's guitar technician. I wanted to ask Matt, what's his favourite part about the job?
That I've still got it. Seriously, when I turned up, as Chris will attest, I was only meant to drive the van to Blackpool. We were going to do a gig with Embrace Tower Ballroom, or Empress Ballroom, or whatever it's called, where they've done Strictly, the final, and yeah, that was the idea. And then I'm still here 23 years later, which is amazing, crazy. None of us expected what was coming next, not even the band.
Like you say, you've worked with Johnny and with the band for 20 plus years. 4 or 5 stadium tours by now. What's changed in your day-to-day?
Well, I've got to give credit to my relatively new colleague here, who's another Matt Tag, aka Tag. There's 3 Matts. We've got silly nicknames so we can tell each other apart. Magoo, Spife, Tag. Because he's now in charge of the effects. So I was doing it all on my own for 20 years. You know, juggling guitars, hitting buttons at the right time, doing it all live, and that was really hard, especially like the first change of the night, which in those days was, say, Head Full of Dreams into Adventure of a Lifetime, was really difficult. Johnny and me would have to really rehearse what we did. Now, Matt's basically taken 20 years of me and Johnny and made it work properly. It's all MIDI controlled now, which is amazing and a real help. So I can concentrate on the guitar changes. I have a guitar change every song in this gig, apart from the ones that Matt takes care of, which are out on the C stage and the B stage. So he's filled in some pretty sort of serious gaps, and it's great to have him aboard now.
How many guitars is Johnny working with at the moment?
Altogether, we've got 14. So it's 2 acoustics and 12 electrics, I think. Yeah, 2 acoustics and 12 electric. Basically, it sounds like more than it is though, because each one's got a backup. So, you know, you'll have this one here, which is the one for People of Pride, and its backup, which is this one, it's the same kind of guitar, is also used for Humankind, so they back each other up, right? But you know, this one really rarely gets used because it's the backup for that one, which is used on Adventure of a Lifetime and My Universe. So there's a lot of that going on, but this is his main then. This is the one he will use on most songs. That's the #1 Telecaster. It's not a Fender, it's a Nash. We use Nashes because they're readily available, really cheap, really consistent. Well, cheap, relatively. You know, if you want another one, you might get it quite quickly because they'll make you it, and you can paint it and nobody minds. Yeah. All right, that's basically the gist of it. There's a whole bunch more of them around there as well. One acoustic song, which is The Scientist.
Yeah. Wanted to ask about that because obviously it's a change mid-song.
That's a gag we've been kind of doing for like as long as I remember. We started off thinking, oh, maybe we'll put it on a stand like Travis, or maybe we'll do it this way, or maybe have a double neck. But in the end, it was quite cool to just go and get it off him, because the thing about Johnny is he's not that into playing acoustic. He's like, it's not loud enough. He really likes electric, so it's quite funny to go and go, give me that, and then give him the loud one, and off he goes.
Is there a certain technique you have to really make sure that smooth transition happens?
I've stopped thinking about it, because if I think about it, I'll probably fall over.
You don't walk away thinking, oh, fuck that one up.
Well, you're always walking away thinking, did I remember to switch it on? And you're like, when he starts the riff, it's like, oh, thank God for that. And it's like, did I tune it right? Oh, I don't know, the B's a bit flat. So yeah, there's a lot going on even within a little moment like that, you know, for that.
I think on the last tour you said, still yellow when you turn the sound up on that, when the Johnny kicks his riff in. That's your favourite part. Is that still your favourite?
There's still a moment, but I don't have to do so much now, because like I was saying to you, it's automated, and Matt's watching that side of things. But it's still a great moment when they go in yellow. I mean, everything goes yellow and everyone loves it. It's brilliant. It's funny, I've never got bored of it really, and you know, I've heard Clocks a million times and I'm still really into it, you know. Yeah. It's proved to be really long-lasting, a lot of their stuff, isn't it?
As part of their sustainability efforts, Coldplay now installs power bikes at each stadium they visit on their Music of the Spheres World Tour. We asked Courtney, how much power can these bikes actually generate?
It depends on the city and it depends on who's cycling, but we can create with 6 bikes enough to charge one of our batteries in one show. But again, it very much depends on how much people are giving it, really.
Obviously, it's a very new thing for concerts. How did this opportunity even come about?
I'm in a very lucky position. I work with some really wonderful people, and they have been creating the big battery system at the back of house, and they asked me if I wanted to be involved, and of course I said yes.
How many biking accidents have happened so far?
None so far.
That's amazing. What's your favourite part about this job?
My favourite part is being able to watch how the audience interact with everything and see how excited they get.
Some cities are more enthusiastic about biking than others on this tour. How many bikes can you fit in the stadium?
It very much depends. It all depends on the space. At the moment we have 6, but we've gone up to, we have 6 per side, but we've got up to having 8 per side, 10 per side, so it very much depends on the space that we have available, but we're always welcome to have more.
If you're interested in being a roadie yourself, there's no better way to start than volunteering. Our next roadie, Becca, has worked with hundreds of volunteers on this tour for Global Citizen.
So the work of the volunteers, we are getting people signed up to join Global Citizen, which is an action-based nonprofit. So we don't ask people for money, we just ask people to use their voices to make bigger changes along with the world, put pressure on world leaders worldwide. World leaders are very participatory in our festival circuit that we do, as well as in Paris, New York, all of that fun stuff. We do see a lot of efforts, especially with rewilding in the Amazon and, you know, preserving land and just combating all the symptoms of poverty.
How can people get involved in Global Citizen?
You can go on globalcitizen.org and sign up for our newsletters. When we are in a city locally, we send out an email blast for people to come volunteer with us at Coldplay shows. So that is the best way to get involved. And you also can sign up online to sign petitions, earn points in our little marketplace to get tickets to shows, other cool things as well. So.
Have you ever dreamed about being on the big screens at the Coldplay show? Our next roadie, Ant, is the camera director for Coldplay's tour.
So every night we have 10 manned cameras on the field, and then we have an additional 3 robo cameras which are controlled from backstage. So when I joined the tour, which was at the very end of 2021, I started doing some research, watching old music videos of Coldplay, watching past live performance, just to really start to understand the songs and understand how the band move on stage. When we were in Costa Rica doing rehearsals, I also had conversations with Chris about where he would be on specific moments of specific songs, whether he would be running to stage left, running to stage right, coming down the thrust onto the B stage. And then I guess watching the shows in rehearsals and watching them every night, I've really started to learn the positions of the band in specific moments and where to position the cameras for those moments.
You're doing something really cool at the end of The Scientist this time. We're playing it in reverse.
Exactly, yeah.
And where did that idea come from? And how difficult is it to do that? Is it quite easy?
I mean, specifically, that is a video effect which is done through our media servers, which Josh Kaufman, our screens director, actually controls. But the whole idea came from the original The Scientist music video, and then trying to incorporate that into the live show in the best way that we could. So I'm always looking during The Scientist for fans which are singing along to the song, maybe people who are getting very emotional, people that are crying, and also people that are having the best time of their life up on people's shoulders, and just trying to incorporate shots of those fans in with the band. Yeah, just really to show the interaction between the band and the crowd and everybody having the best time of their lives.
Next up, we have the beloved tour photographer, Anna Lee. Anna, how do you prepare for each show?
It's a kind of a combination approach. I will at least familiarize myself with the venue enough to know how to get to different locations quickly. A big part of the views that we want to convey through the pictures are really wide, high up views that show kind of the scale and the production, the scale of the production. So there's a bit of scouting that goes into that. Otherwise, it's the nice thing about being a tour photographer specifically, as you get really familiar with the internal ecosystem of the production. So as far as like how to get around the stage and behind the stage and things like that, really doesn't change from show to show. So if I'm scouting, it's venue specific, but sometimes I will specifically not pre-plan shots because there's a little bit of magic that happens with just winging it in the moment to a degree. So it's just like kind of waiting to see what presents itself to you versus planning it out. So it's a bit of a combination approach.
And sometimes you go climbing as well.
I do, yeah. That's an unexpected, fun, and terrifying part of the role. So some of the stadiums present the opportunity to get up into the structure, on the roof, catwalk, things like that. And then also our production here, as part of the tour, has high raised scaffolding that we climb up onto. So we harness up and go up and get some like really unique vantage points.
you probably take a lot of photos every night.
I average about 1,000 photos per day. And that includes the show, but also like various things that might happen throughout the day or other projects that we're kind of tackling pre-show. But a majority of it is show photos. And I whittle that down, attempt to get it down to about 50 to 70 deliverables per day.
All right. How long? So I think we saw something on your socials of editing at 2 a.m. or something like this.
Yes.
Needs to be a quick turnaround, obviously.
Yeah.
How long does that take you when you open your laptop and you see the photos you've shot?
It varies a bit, but I'm usually wrapping up around, I would say average 3 a.m. Just, getting started immediately after the show, which will, that'll wrap around 11 or 11:30 p.m. So just depends on like what the vision is for each image and how long that takes.
There's a lot going on in this show. There's fireworks, there's confetti, there's all this great stuff happening. There's Chris running around. I think you've said something before, like you don't know what you've shot until you've seen it.
Yeah.
So what's it actually like for you when you're in the moment and everything is going on around you?
The winging it moments really do work best when I'm kind of chasing Chris around the stage and just like waiting for opportunities to present themselves throughout the show that are changing from venue to venue. So I don't like the scenes from the C stage are going to have a completely different vibe than they would from the last venue that we were at.
No further questions, I think. Just a special thank you for your work on this tour. We've been loving all the photos. The crazy lens effect as well that you're doing on it is making magic.
Yeah, I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve that helps kind of keep it varied.
It's so unique. I've never seen it before. So congrats and yeah, keep the good content coming for all the fans.
In 2019, Coldplay made a commitment to make their tours as sustainable as possible. Our next roadie has been spearheading those efforts.
So the sustainability initiatives kind of touch every branch of the tour. So they are heavily involved in the production elements. So whether that's sourcing HVO for the generators and for the trucks, opting for reusable batteries, which saves us around 250 batteries per show. Just making small changes like that makes a really big impact in the production elements of the show. We've now transitioned the entire show onto the i3 BMW batteries, including the lighting and really the whole show. So, I mean, that's a massive, massive step in improving the sustainability elements and the energy consumption backstage. So there's the production elements. And then, we also work with the venues quite heavily to make adjustments there. So we expand recycling programs. We may add composting when they don't have it. We work with their concessions teams to reduce and hopefully eliminate the single-use plastics in the sales for that. We add free water stations for the fans, which helps to reduce waste in general by allowing them to bring in the reusable bottles. And then for the fan impact, there's fans traveling from all over the world to see the show. So trying to provide lower carbon options for them, whether that's a better walking path for them, if it's a public transportation partnership for, maybe free or discounted rides. We've done cycling incentives, all kinds of things, really to get the fan engagement and encourage and provide resources to make smarter choices.
Can you talk maybe a little bit about the process and the road to getting the show to be 100% on batteries?
The vast majority of stadium shows would be powered by generators. And step one was getting those generators on HVO to eliminate that diesel consumption. And then step number two was partnering the generators with the batteries. And that was, a bit of a research and development program to make sure that the battery system was able to take on the whole show without having any sort of, show-stop elements in regards to the power supply to the production. And as they have done the research and kind of trialed a bunch of shows on it, they have found ways to put the entire show on that. And then in some capacities, we're actually able to charge the batteries from the grid at the venue. So as we're moving through Europe, there's quite a few venues where we're going to be able to plug the batteries into the building, which will be fantastic, really eliminating the vast majority of the need for any sort of fossil fuel or even fossil fuel alternative. So yeah, it's been really great.
But what's been the biggest challenge for you, do you think, on this tour?
The plastics reduction is challenging. A lot of products come in single-use plastics. And we do need to navigate around, different contracts, different obligations in regards to, providing products that have been agreed upon, and of course, always taking into account health and safety. I think the plastics avoidance is the biggest challenge, but it's the biggest area for opportunity, because moving forward, if we're able to switch to fountain soda, if we're able to rely heavily on reusables rather than single-use beverages, if we can find a way to promote tap water usage rather than, escalated or elevated sales of water, but it's a sensitive subject. So I think we've been finding good solutions in partnership with the venues to see something that works for both.
Imagine being a Coldplay intern. Well, Samara is the back-of-house apprentice for Coldplay's Music of the Spheres World Tour. Samara, how did you get this job?
I was working at a nonprofit called Music Forward, so shout out to Music Forward. But that's Live Nation's nonprofit, and I was doing a lot of work with them, and my supervisor emailed me and was like, hey, there's might be a cool opportunity for a world tour. I can't tell you the band, but it's a really good band. Like, I think you should send me your resume. So I sent him my resume, and I kind of forgot about it, actually, until I got an email from the apprentice leader, and I saw the band at the bottom of the email. I got my first interview and my second and my third, and I was like, oh snaps, like I could actually get this internship, and here I am now. So get to travel the world, get to see an awesome band, get to be a part of something that I think is really great, especially in the sustainability aspect. So I'm really grateful and happy to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the average day looks like for a Coldplay apprentice?
Part of what I do, a lot of different things. I'm an apprentice, so I'm really learning a lot of the stuff that goes on in production. But one of my favorite things that I've been doing during the show, I work with the different inclusivity activities that kind of go on through here. So I go on the touch tours with our visually impaired guests. I work the sub packs for our hard of hearing and deaf guests that come through, and I also work a lot with the planet operators. So we team up with local dancers in every city that we go to, and we strap giant inflatable planets to their backs and send them out in the crowd during the show. So I work with them a lot as well.
And they actually dance, right?
Yeah, they do. They do. In some cities, it's actually really cool seeing the style change from city to city to city, because we started in Brazil, so the style is a lot different than in Portugal, which is a lot different than in Manchester and Barcelona, and so it's really fun to see the different personalities that come out and do their thing. But yeah, we have a good group this time. I'm really excited.
What have you found the most challenging part so far?
The most challenging thing, I think you have to learn how to work kind of at your own pace, but in I don't want to say high risk, but a high risk environment. A lot of the stuff that you do affects the show, and it's a massive show, and who wants to be the person that's messed up the Coldplay show? I know it's that big of a risk, but yeah, I think it's it's kind of stepping into your own and feeling secure and confident that you know what you're doing and can do it at the time that it needs to be done. I think that's the hardest part, is getting over your own, I guess, nervousness about everything. My favorite thing about being on tour so far would have to be, I've really never experienced such a huge place of worship almost. And it's not even just worshiping the band. It's more so just the band really talks about accepting people for who they are. And you really get to see that and feel that in the shows. We go all across the world, and each place it's so much of the same. People wanting to connect, people wanting to be accepted, people loving each other and crying and feeling just really included in something. And I think that is really hard. I've cried at half the shows because it's just so many people just there for one thing, and it's to listen to good music and hang on to each other, and I think that's what all it's about.
The doors are open, fans are inside the stadium, and everybody's excited for the show. After a few quick reunions here and there, we just happened to meet Jaakko out on the kinetic floors. Jaakko, what do you do on Coldplay's tour?
Several things: the barricades, the flooring, and of course the energy floor, on which we stand right now.
and my forte is doing the blackouts. So during the show, the lights, the confetti, the fireworks all just pops out. So the audience doesn't get distracted by the empty seats.
How long did it take to do the drag?
Most parts we did it in 2 days. We had an amazing crew here. It helps because it's easier to explain in English. Sometimes it can be quite a challenge, but it makes it fun.
What was the most challenging city to put up the drag?
The most challenging so far was Dallas. It's massive, it's really open, and the wind there was storms in Texas. Phoenix, the State Farm Arena, it's massive. I came in and I'm like, oh no, I want to quit my job. But we got it done, and at the end of the day, you get your work done and you get the satisfaction and everybody's happy, so that really does it for me. Yeah.
When fans enter the stadium, they are given a love button and an LED wristband. As part of the band's sustainability plans, I wanted to ask our next roadie, how is the Recycle program going?
It's been really, really awesome. Our average for all of the 80-something shows we've done so far is actually 85% returns. We're really proud of that. You know, in the beginning we were like, how are we gonna do this? And really it was like the help of every single person on tour with us to make those numbers happen. So it's really cool to see.
How do you go about setting up the distribution of, today is probably 55,000 wristbands.
Right.
Somewhere else it could be 90,000 wristbands.
Exactly.
How is that process?
So me and my boss, we actually created an entire, it's like an Excel spreadsheet, but also a project management tool to help us with this tour, to help us with predictions for the future. So we base everything off of a little bit less than our average collection rate, just in case we have an all day for some reason. And we use that to help us with all things related to the logistics of making this happen.
It's almost showtime, and there's one more roadie we're dying to meet. Shaheem Lichmore is the lighting director for Coldplay's Music of the Spheres World Tour. He controls all of the lights in the stadium, including the magical LED wristbands.
Shaheem, you've been on a few Instagram clips, fans have seen you, they love the passion. You're so into the show as well, like, you really seem to really love it. Like, where does this come from, this energy?
You know, it's such a great show that's got great energy, great vibe. And I'm also kind of feel up the crowd a little bit as well, so they're like so into it, so it's kind of hard not to get into it with them, and it's so infectious that you just want to be a part of the enjoyment. So it's kind of just, we're at a concert, so let's all be here, be present, and be available for the experience.
Yeah. You still rehearse like everything, or?
I still rehearse, because Chris Martin keeps me on tails for sure, so a lot of things are a little bit audible. Sometimes he kind of wavers off the path a little bit, so I do rehearse and try to make sure my cues are clean and all my exits and entrances are just as clean as the rest of the show. So I do keep practicing to kind of keep building that muscle memory and kind of maintain that idea as well.
I guess Phil Michael worked a lot of ideas for you, but do you come up with ideas too, like we could do this, or like have your flares over there?
Absolutely, because he'll sometimes give me a general vibe of what he's after, but I'm like, well, we could try doing like sweeping up the bowl and trying to do like a ripple up the bowl and sweep it around. So we kind of play back and forth on ideas, so we kind of, he'll give me a little bit, I'll give him a little bit, and then he always pushes me to like, Sean, I love this, but can you give me a little bit more? So he pushes the idea to kind of expand on that. This is the first time I've ever had the chance to program the wristband stuff, the Fix Mob. So it was a challenge at first to kind of figure out how to get in and out of certain songs and kind of establish some of the looks. And after a while, it becomes a little bit of a natural thing where it's like, well, I kind of know what the band's after in terms of visuals of the wristbands and how they wanted to achieve certain ideas and energies from it. So it's a challenge at first, but now I have a kind of grasp on it now. So I kind of like have more fun with it now. The hearts are one of the more interesting things we do with the wristbands. We are the only tour that do the hearts, and we kind of established the hearts as one of our staples of our show because it's such a cool idea, and it takes a while to kind of get it good, but once we got it, it's a very ooh kind of moment to the crowd where it's like it's a heart made out of wristbands. It's really cool.
It's incredible. Like, usually the wristband's been around for a while, but this shape you already gave the crowd now is like taking it to a new level.
Yeah.
How hard is it to set it up in like different stadiums and stuff?
The heart is challenging because it's based upon the size and scale of the stadium, so it doesn't look the same everywhere we go. So generally, the higher the stadium is, the better the hearts are. So it's a thing where some days it's crispy, sexy hearts. Some days you're like, It's a hard. But generally the idea is there, but it's definitely based upon the size of the venue for sure.
There's also like location-based things like with clocks, the tiering, like roof, upper seats, lower level floor, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of thing is an evolution. You're learning with tech and you changing the show as you go.
Yeah, we try to push the Pixmob wristband to the fullest extent of the technology. So we do a lot of great groupings, like a lot of sweeps around the bowls, a lot of tears, a lot of hearts kind of vibes. And we just try to give it the best we got and kind of just keep pushing that envelope to make it greater again.
Let's go. 1, 2, 3, go. Take 2. Buenos Aires, loco, loco, loco. Let's go. Shaheen, lights on. Let's go.
Well, the first time it happened, oddly enough, was an accident. And how it happens in the show now is kind of what happened the first time it happened. We missed the cue for the wristbands the first time, and then he stopped, and then we did it again, the wristbands came on, and then Chris was like, well, can we do that every night? So it became more of a thing. So now it's a part of the show where it's like, I know it's gonna happen. So it's more of a cued out thing now.
Now that we've met all of the roadies of the Spheres, it's time to go through some fun, light-hearted, and deep questions. If you've enjoyed this documentary so far, please consider giving us a like and subscribing to our channel on Coldplay Extra TV.
You have a favorite part of the show?
What I like to refer to as the space rave. So I really enjoy when all of the lasers are going off and there's just so much strobes and everything's just a bit over the top, and I love it. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I really enjoy. I would say my favorite song to see is Yellow. I love the light up bands. I think it's just like a full experience. That's the best way I can describe a Coldplay show is an experience, not a show.
Probably my favorite song in the set is People of the Pride.
People of the Pride.
I think People of the Pride.
What do you do on your days off?
Sleep. I rest and then try to see the city as much as possible. So it's kind of like my day off vibes, like sleep, work out, walk around city kind of vibes. Just how to do that better.
I like taking walks. I like a nice plate of food. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved going to record stores and buying records and listening to music. And the older I get, I like going to bed.
I mean, on my days off, it can be anything from just catching up on some rest to exploring the city if it's somewhere that I haven't traveled to before.
I go and explore as much as I can, spend time with a lot of the other crew and see as much of the cities as I can possibly see.
Do you have a favorite city that you like to go and you're like, yes, that's the place?
Not a favorite, but ones you remember. Like, I'm really looking forward to going back to San Siro. Where's that?
Italy.
Milan, thank you. Yeah, that is an amazing place to play because the audiences are incredible, but also the shape of the stadium. You know, it goes up right in front of you like that.
Sideways.
Yeah, it's just like being in a big teacup. But the sound is amazing of the audience on stage.
I mean, starting the tour in Costa Rica was something really, really special because it's not a destination that you would usually travel to on a music tour. And for the band to start there because of Costa Rica's links with sustainability was something really special.
Can I say Barcelona? Barcelona was excellent.
Had a good time?
Had a great time in Barcelona. It was pretty nice.
My favorite city, as per the crowd, would be Warsaw. I really enjoyed how much they got into the rave aspect of the show.
Yeah, I would definitely say Buenos Aires. We had an amazing time. The staff that we had was incredible. Like, all of them went viral on TikTok during the collection process. They like made up songs to get the wristbands back. It was really fun, and that goes back on like becoming a local. We were there for like almost a month, so we had a really good time at Evergarden.
That's great, and that also has the highest return rate, I believe, as well, right?
I think it's tied with Brussels.
Okay.
Brussels did really well also.
As incredible as life might be on the road, it does come with its challenges. I wanted to know, what is the hardest part about being a roadie on tour?
Being away from home.
Yeah.
The home life is always missed. So, but I do make it up with, like I said, experiences out here on the road. So it's good to have those kind of people around to kind of help usher me into like not missing the home so much and not missing the family, but having my great friends out here on the road too.
You get tired, you know, we work really hard in the long hours and then the traveling. So I think just being tired, but you just got to take care of yourself in the right ways and you get through it.
The lack of sleep.
I mean, touring in general can be a little bit difficult if you're away from home for a long time, but this tour is very nice for that because the legs that we're out for are not so long, so I never have to be away from home for more than 4 weeks at the most, really.
Best part about being on tour with Coldplay?
Honestly, the crew. This is the best crew I think I've ever toured with in my life. Everybody is fantastically friendly and really engaged in the initiatives. I mean, in Barcelona, I think we had 6 different boxes of waste streams lined up so that they could separate each item. And I watched each person walk up, read the signs, and make the right choice. And it's little things like that. But I think on this one it's the group.
The best part about being on tour is having a crew of people willing to like collaborate and make a great idea happen every night. It's kind of a beautiful love story of that.
The best part is seeing the world, hanging out with your friends.
And finally, what's the #1 rule for roadies on tour?
Don't shit on the bus.
You can't poop on the bus.
No poop on the bus. That's a real thing.
Oh my God. Can I call a friend? He says, what's the #1 rule when you're on the road if you're a roadie?
Don't shit on the bus.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Cheers.